Hi, today is 28th of February 2016. My name is Alex Barella. This is my video number 16, and as usual there will be 4 parts. Events and people I forgot to mention before, confessions and admissions made by the voice or voices in this case, events that took place over the last days, my theories, conclusions. Something that I forgot to mention before is that you can follow me on Twitter if you like and check all the developments and more details about things that I'm saying here. In regards to events that I forgot and people I forgot to mention before, there was a conversation over the phone with Glenda Broadbent from the Bridge Employment on the 28th of January that I already described in my video number 12 on the 31st of January. But the voice was telling me that I should repeat that again. I don't know why, but the fact that we had a heated argument with her in regards to a medical certificate never claimed by them since my last contact on the 29th of July 2015. She said she was going to mail me the paperwork, but which I never received, and it was, I believe, because I told them, the team, that if they persisted with that idea, I was going to pay her a visit at her office in Dandenong. By the way, never received any mail from those crooks. Something the voice was asking me to clarify again, like I said before. In regards to people I forgot, Carrie McDonald at Ames in the city at 255 Williams Street, Paul Starbuck at Dan and Brown Street, Annie Harris, principal of Hampton Primary School, another Fabian in Buenos Aires. This guy was an IT guy at Sistemas Digitales, along with Maria Jose Veron, who probably hacked my computer back in 2002. Bianca Canfield here in Melbourne, property manager at David Marshall Property, back when I rented the unit at Sandringham. Maria Alejandra Zagari, translator in Buenos Aires of all the our immigration documents. Leila Elizabeth Sanese, notary public in Buenos Aires. Valeria de Liechtenstein, a clairvoyant, also over there. Here, Elizabeth Maguire, deputy principal at Orge, Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. The full name of the English teacher here in Melbourne, one of them, was Tarine Labroy. She lived back then in 2004, 2005, something like that. She lived back then in at number 2, Unit 3, Caracara Street, Blackrock. Also neighbors at number 304, Caracas Street, an apartment that I lived for more than pretty much 15 years. Over there, Horacio Colombo, the guy right next to our apartment, the couple living downstairs, the architect and his wife, and the residential building administrator as well. Here at number 16 Weber Street in Hampton, the first unit that we lived in, and unit number 3, there were Kay and Denise Douglas, neighbors. In Buenos Aires, Sergio Vázquez, the owner of Pizzeria Fiamma. Fabian, who was our mechanic for many years in Buenos Aires as well. Well, it's worth to mention that many of these names were mentioned by the other voice, something I will elaborate in my theories and conclusions about who, they. Also, they mentioned the gay couple again that we met at their house in Footscray. They were very close to Franklin Urieta back then. In regards to confessions and admissions made by the voice, surprisingly coming from him, who until recently was saying he was the same voice, the female, working on this since middle 2007 until May 2015. He admitted now that the previous voice, who claimed to be Carly, I don't know if it was his real name, was heavily involved in the events that happened on the 21st of February 2013 with the dog biting my leg, with the police nearby on the Princess Highway, during my time living with the Maria and Sons at Oakley South. The voice is repeating that all the jobs I had in Australia since our arrival have been arranged by them, in my case mostly contracts, except for the case of Marketing Direct Australia. He is also repeating Eduardo Alcaraz and wife, Susana, worked for them when we arrived here in 2003. I remember this guy coming over to our unit that we rented in Hampton, which, by the way, the voice says that was also organized by them, to tell me I should accept any job that might show up. Jeff McNamara came along not long after, also working for them. He's also repeating that Franklin Arrieta as well worked for them back in 2004 and 5. The voice also repeated something that was mentioned last year in regards to Royal Children's Hospital and them taking their share of their proceedings. At some point the voice is saying that I am an internet sensation. I think that is rubbish though, considering the appalling numbers shown on YouTube regarding how many times my videos have been watched. Appalling indeed. He also said that Nigel Waropa, the close friend of Jonathan Dutton, was one of the bosses, something that was mentioned last year as well. He retracted afterwards though about that. The voice has been saying that Masuda is to Max Employment what Paul Patterson was for Matchworks, but it's not very reliable information since I saw her profile and email address on her PC when I was there. The other voice have been saying that Honey and the rest of the team, of course, including the regular voice, work for the English. I suppose that they meant SIPSA, I don't know. On the 26th of February at night, the voice told me that they were involved in the incident that took place on the 25th of November 2011 while working as a cleaner for Winter White on Besalles at the Endeavour Hills car park, with the car almost running me over. The only surprise about this is that he was trying to take responsibility when actually the original voice was calling the shots back then. On the 27th of February, while working on this video, the voice revealed that he's trying to get from my room. I'm pretty sure that he meant the notebooks, 4 notebooks that I've been writing some sort of like a diary until recently with my experience since 2008, with some interruptions, especially I think the first one. Lately the voice also said that RSVP, the dating site, was working for them. I remember that I went out with a few women between 2006 and 8 through that website, but all were weird experience in the sense that it seemed that they knew a lot about me before even meeting. Regards to events that took place over the last days, on the 23rd in the morning I went to Europa Market riding my bike, found some truck drivers a bit angry, trying to cut my ride. At the market it was quite normal, with a few exceptions of some elderly men pretending to be mobsters, I suppose. some coughing a bit. Ralph didn't show up, as I was told through a WhatsApp message. I answered that I didn't want to talk about that anymore, about the swapping the car park spots on the driver, since I thought that was settled on the 14th of February. So perhaps it's the end of the soap opera, I don't know. On the 24th, it was not. On the 24th, in the morning, watching a TV show from Argentina, there was the show is conducted by Maximo Montenegro with several guests on channel 26, and he started coughing more than here in Madeira, and that was pathetic. Probably he knows about drug trafficking and money laundering as part of their normal activity, I don't know. On the same day, Dean from Max Employment called me to cancel one of the 3 scheduled appointments last Friday by Masuda, the one on the 4th of March, the next Friday. It was meant to be a group session. He said that it was cancelled due to lack of staff with the manager. I suppose that he was referring to Billy, deciding to give the day off to a number of employees. He told me he was letting me know with such a notice in case I was planning to do something else that day. He also said Masuda was in Queensland for the week. When I asked him about my job plan not signed by anyone from the agency, he said that he could do that by printing another set of copies of the job plan with a minor alteration. I told him that was fine as long as it is the same I was given last time. He added up that the shortage of the personnel on the 4th will be just on the job active side, not on the disabilities services. Well, I am not on that side anymore. I never was, actually. My opinion on this is that the cancellation of the group session on the 4th of March is to prevent me interacting with other job seekers. They always prefer the one-on-one meetings with one of their team, and as it always happened with all the job service providers, most noticeably Matchworks and Paul Patterson lately. At night, Ralph came down knocking at my door without any notice. It was a bit of a surprise. I was having my dinner. He said he wanted to talk about the swapping car park spots on the driveway on behalf of Honey again. I told him that I thought that I was sorted out last Sunday on 14th of February. He said, what if Honey changes his habits? I said, I told him that will not be possible since I think he's on drugs again, and left the house last Tuesday at 2:30 a.m. again. I told him that he was parking his car on the grass for months and never complained about that. Ralph said that since he now fixed his car, I don't know how he managed to do that, because he says he's on Centrelink payments, which is hard to believe. He would like to park on the driveway. The conversation dragged on for a few minutes, but I repeated that I got the right to sleep as well at night, and I offered the cleaning deal. On the other hand, I offered the cleaning deal because nobody in the house wanted to do it, despite I don't enjoy doing the cleaning every week, even if I get paid, which is the case. I offered to go back to the days when everyone took turns to the cleaning, but Ralph emphatically denied, saying no to that, telling me that he would like to keep the deal. And at some point I told him that we had a serious altercation with this guy last Saturday on the 20th, with me about to call the police, and he was not very impressed about that, but didn't make any comment. Before leaving, I told him I transferred the money of the rent into his bank account in the morning, as he requested through a WhatsApp message the previous night. He said thank you, as he didn't know anything about the messages. Maybe someone else hacked his WhatsApp user, as they do with my daughter. I don't know. There's a good chance of that. On the 25th, despite Ralph's comment, Honey left at 3 a.m. today to return shortly afterwards. I went to Aldi, a bit of tension on the bus. It seems the voice was right about it. Coffee might be on decline for today at least, but with a few fanatics still persisting with that. On the 26th of February, again, Honey left at 3 a.m. in the morning, returning shortly afterwards, contradicting again what Ralph said last Wednesday. About to have my breakfast, went to the kitchen and to discover that my favorite tea mug from IKEA was gone from the cupboard. I don't get this, to be honest. I was planning to call Ralph about it. I don't know whether it was Honey or the new guy who left early in the morning. I called Ralph several times, but he didn't pick up the phone. I'm not using WhatsApp Messenger. It's not reliable, so I prefer to call him. Took the bus for the appointment at 10:30 at Max Employment in Dandenong. While walking down the street, shot a short video to capture some attitudes from people on the street. Uploaded on YouTube that video. Twitter is not ready to support that kind of file. And Max Employment was received by Dean Kalinikos. Masuda was on leave until next week. He started saying that contrary to what he said last Wednesday, it was not Billy, site manager, giving day off to a number of staff members on the job active side to cancel the appointment on the 4th of March, but the absence of Masuda, who he needs to run the group sessions. But he later said that she was due to come back on Thursday, so it was not clear why the cancellation. he said that there were problems with the staff on this. There were no problems with the staff on disability. Anyway, again, he offered to address the issue of my job plan first. It was not signed by anyone. He made a few modifications, being the most important the reduction of contacts with employers from 20 to 12 a month. He later signed it, printed it, and gave me a photocopy, not the original, but at least it's better than nothing, or one signed by no one there. I told him I was open to other positions apart from accounting ones, like factory hand, call center, cleaner, administration, etc. Then a woman who I've never seen before approached us and said that she might have a position for a sweet gent like me. I was a bit surprised about that, since I've been called many names all the time, but never that one though. She went on saying that it was a construction site, but selling architectural designs. She left very quickly without giving further details about that position. I asked him about the role, but he said that later on, but he said that he couldn't find it in the system. Unbelievable. We kept talking about potential roles, and I told him I would be interested in accounting part-time role, provided it was more money than the amount I'm getting every fortnight from Centrelink, which is about $570. He agreed to that and showed some empathy towards me and my situation, saying it must be hard to live with that sort of money. And I said, it has been since May 2009, very hard. And especially now with my car that has broken down, and I got no money to fix it. At some point he said I was winning. Well, I don't see that at all. I don't know what he meant. The only thing that I know is I got only $100 in my bank account after deducting the rent until next payment, Centrelink payment. No news of having a normal life. So I don't know what he meant. I haven't talked to my daughter since middle of December last year, not even over the phone. So I asked him about the group sessions, and Dean said that it might involve cold calling to companies in the area, even through Google. I told him that that was not a good experience for me back in 2006 when I met a female employee at Centrelink Moorabbin. It didn't work back then. Nevertheless, I told him I was willing to do it next time, perhaps providing with their name, the name of the agency. He said it could make things worse. In regards to the frequency of attendance to their office, I reminded him that it was Emilia, the regional manager, who relaxed that requirement from 3 times to once a week. But he ignored my comment and changed the subject. Perhaps she didn't work at all for them, as it was inferred by Masuda last Friday the 19th. Later I told him that I was trying to upload my resume to Max Connect, their website. He said I could email it to Chelsea, the receptionist, and gave me her email address, not his. I managed to get his email anyway and sent it to both. While spelling the Chelsea's email, which is Beric, is her last name, I asked him about B for, because I couldn't understand the handwriting. I asked him if it was B for Betty, and he was a bit unsettled on my comment. I noticed that the bitch who approached us to talk about the construction site was actually referring, as I discovered later walking down the street to this house, that 2 guys dressed as workers sitting on the rear of the ute, looking at me, smiling as if they knew me. So I looked back at them and said, "What's going on with this guy? I never met him." So I suppose that she referred to that episode later. At the end, it's crossing the street. There is a construction site across the road. At the end of the meeting, some hysterical coughing around the office, and I left the office really angry and decided to head towards Matchworks, which is very close. The previous jobs I provided nearby. I thought that I was asking for Paul Patterson, but it was near lunch and near lunchtime, and I decided to go to Centrelink office instead. very close. There were plenty of people, so I was thinking to pay them a visit next week. There was a lot of people out there. I walked down a few meters more to the bus stop. While waiting for the bus, I noticed a guy across the road standing at the front door of his house or office. I noticed that actually there was a chiropractor sign. Don't remember the name. The address is number 24 Mason Street. And at first, the guy who was staring at me, looking eye contact very noticeably. Later, doing a cutthroat gesture while looking at me. Then started to smoke a cigarette. And finally, he went into the house and came back outside with a coffee mug in his hand, drinking from it and looking at me. As he was referring to the episode with my coffee mug disappearing from the cupboard in the morning. Perhaps they're saying that they are responsible for that. Yeah, well, it's not a surprise. It doesn't come to as a surprise for me at all. The guy was really nervous, and as I was returning one of his suggestions, of course, as you can imagine, I forgot to take a photo of the asshole. But anyway, maybe next time, because I'm going to take the bus anyway, so they're going to let him know that I'm going to take the bus very close to that, in central England, so they can organize a new encounter if they want. No. I also called Ralph trying to seek clarifications to whether there were any grudges in regards to our chat last Wednesday about swapping car park spots on the driveway with Hanny. He said no, that was settled for good. So I mentioned the coffee mug stolen from the cupboard, my favorite from IKEA, and I told him perhaps the new guy did it. He said I shouldn't use the words as stolen. Well, that is what actually happened. We talked also about Sackman leaving empty beer cans all over the kitchen, and he asked me if I had told him about it, and he said yes. He promised to talk to him about it. Already on the bus, a tense environment, along with the more hysterical coughing again. During our chat, Dean told me that I should learn how to fix my car. Perhaps he meant that they won't help me at all to do that. I don't know. On the 27th of February, I uploaded the short video walking towards max employment that I mentioned before. There was some noisy neighbors at number 11 coughing hysterically. It kept going until 2 a.m. or in the morning today. At some point called 000, but I thought that might be useless according to the last experience in 2013 with the dog. I called him back then, but never showed up. So I told the team that I was going to start taking pictures of the cocksuckers next door at 11, and actually did it this morning. And when I got outside, we were taking some rubbish out, but they suddenly were gone from the front yard. So there was no one to be seen. It seems that very, very shy people. I don't know. They were screaming all night long. In regards to my theories or conclusions, over the last weeks there have been other voices, apart from the regular one, since May last year. This one has been mentioning people and events that, as I mentioned before, that took place years ago, basically 2002, 2005, between that period. This never happened before, so I suppose that is a good sign for me and my family here and abroad. I don't know. But what I mean is that was not supposed that I should be aware of that information at all, I suppose. And the fact that it's happening after so many years, 6 or more years or more, in some cases, I think it means that everyone is going out. All the information is somehow revealing itself. I don't know. It's pure speculation about that. As to who might they be? Well, it can be competitors in the same business, the guys of the team, perhaps part of their team as well, or maybe people connected to me from the past. I don't know. At this stage I kind of figured it out. The voice was telling me last night to publish the video right away because I finished that in the afternoon. I didn't know why, but I decided to wait for more material until now. And effectively that happened with the guys next door making a lot of noises and drinking and yelling and all sorts of stuff, who I believe work along with the one part of the same team. Look, for now I think it's enough. I always think that I'm going to have material for the next one, the next video, but I always have. So I suppose that I will have more for the next one. And for now, I think it's all. And like I said before, you can follow me on Twitter and learn more details about some things that I don't mention on my videos because it will take a lot of time. So thank you. Until the next one.